We're going to get started right now, but this is the Sloan Sports Analytics Conference Startup Competition. Thank you all so much for joining. My name is Nick. I'm a first-year MBA student here at MIT Sloan. I am a co-organizer of this competition along with Jack Behrens here and Jeff Wyback there. Today we have an awesome lineup of startups for you traveling from around the world. We had one of our most competitive years ever for startups, and we have 13 finalists to present with you today. The way this is going to work is we have two tracks of startups. So the first is going to be fan experience, and then later in the day at 1:15 here, we'll have the performance track. So for fan experience, these are going to be startups that really let you go deeper within the fan experience. So that could be betting, that could be it could be AR, VR, it could be all sorts of things related to how the fan engages with the sport itself. We have three amazing judges here today who are joining us. Kirsten Corio, National Director of Ticketing at USTA, Laura Bernard, founder of Breakthrough Brands, and John Guido, co-founder of AGC Partners. The way this is going to work is each startup is going to have 10 minutes to present on their startup idea. They're going to be evaluated by 4 different criteria. So that's going to be the product itself. It's going to be the go-to-market strategy. It's going to be the product market fit. And it's going to be the actual impact on the sport that they're able to bring to the audience. Following the 10-minute presentation, each startup is going to have 3 minutes of Q&A with the judges. And afterwards, we'll be deliberating, or the judges will pick a winner, which will be announced later at 5:30 at the award ceremony. With that, I think we have everything covered and are ready to kick off. So I would love to present our first startup that came here, which is Skill Corner. Just to give them a little background, Skill Corner is a computer vision startup producing innovative soccer data from any broadcast feed in real time and with high accuracy. So.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Hugo. I'm the CEO of Skill Corner, and I'm really happy to be here today. It's our first time at SSAC, so yeah, thanks for having us. So Skill Corner, we're a French startup based in Paris. We collect data on sports based on computer vision algorithms and machine learning algorithms. We focus on soccer at the moment, but we will expand to other team sports in the future. So the data we're collecting is what we call broadcast tracking data. So some of you may have been at Stats conference here, but last year they present some work on broadcast from tracking from broadcast on basketball, and we're doing it on soccer for 2 years now. So there are two types of data, two main types of data. The event data from one side. So event data is everything that's happening around the ball. The shots, the dribble, the passing, the crosses. So this data is highly available. You have like 10 different providers being able to sell you this ball event data. But it lacks some context. You just have the information around the ball. You don't have a full picture of what's happening on the pitch. And then on the other side of the scope, you have the tracking data. On the tracking data, you have the position of all the players at any given time of the match. You get the full picture. But the tracking data is not highly available. It's available for the official broadcaster, for the teams within the league, but not for player recruitment, for instance, not for sports betting, not for all the other media. We are filling this gap. Because as we collect the data from the broadcast, we're able to collect the data on any game played anywhere on Earth. Okay, a little bit about the technology. So this is a typical broadcast feed. On this, we are able to detect the players, know exactly what's the position of the camera and what the camera is looking at any given time. And then we're recognizing the players automatically. So all this process is completely automatic. and detecting the ball position in 3 dimensions, which is not easy because we only have one point of view. So all this process is automatic, and the beauty of the thing is all this process is done in live with a latency of around 2 to 3 seconds. And it's scalable because we can do it on any game played anywhere. And that's about. Okay, what do matter when you collect data, especially in live? So there's speed, the quality of the data is important, and the coverage is important. About the quality, we've run some extensive data validation between our data and the official data from optical tracking or GPS on the players. And we find that up to 95% of our data are perfectly correct. Right identification, right positioning on the field. About speed, as I said, we can deliver the data within 2 to 3 seconds. So it makes it really available for live application. Yeah, and finally about coverage. Last season we covered 3,000 matches. This season we'll cover around 10,000 matches. And the goal within 2 years is to collect data on any game played anywhere. So it's around 50,000 professional matches a season. But the fans are actually not interested in raw tracking data. They don't want to get 1 million data point per match. They don't know what to do with that. So we build live innovative visualization from this data. So this is the visualization. It basically shows the position of all the players, the ball, the referee, and all the movements in live. And we integrate this visualization into the sportsbook website, for instance, or we are working with Winamax in France, with Kindred, the Unibet brand in the UK, and also with media, we're working with PPTV in China. Okay, so this is the visualization on the right. So as you see, you don't see all the players, you just see the players that are visible on the pitch. And on the left side, you see some commentators commenting the match on top of the visualization. So that's one use case of this visualization. And this is a web TV in France from Winamax, which is the second sportsbook in France. Yeah, and you get all the movement in live. It's actually an alternative to like play-by-play or live written comments. Okay, this is another product. So it's we've done it for a sports book in the UK that came to us and said, we have a lot of streaming, but the streaming on the sports book are really small size. They are not allowed to broadcast it in a big size. So they say it's actually quite boring and people are not that interested in the streaming. So we've actually computed some new innovative statistics like pressing information that we calculate from the tracking data, and we integrate it on top of the live stream as an augmented reality layer. And then we can combine the two different things. So on top, that's a betting application. On top, you have the live visualization that I showed you earlier. And on the bottom, you have some innovative statistics like pressing that will link to different odds. And you have like a leaderboard of considering these statistics. So it makes it really interactive for the bettors. And yes, that's what you lack currently in a sports betting website. Okay, last application on fan experience. We're working with EVS. It's a live production application company that are working on live replay, so to trigger the right replay at the right time. So our data is useful to them because we're able to contextualize and, for instance, find all the sprints of a given player since the start of the match, and you can apply the replay in live. Okay, our business model is we're selling data as a service, and we're selling it for all the part of the industry, so betting, media, and also teams directly that are not allowed to broadcast the match, but are also interested in having some content in live to engage their fans. And last thing I'd like to mention as well, it's not about fan experience, but we're also working on performance analysis for clubs. We signed Liverpool earlier this season, and they are using our tracking data for player recruitment. Thank you very much.
And now we have 3 minutes for questions.
Judges?
Just quickly, in the last point, can you talk more about the use case for recruiting a little bit more?
Yeah. So, you know, in Premier League, the team have already access to tracking data from optical tracking systems. So they are all set up for their own team and opposition scouting. But when it comes to player recruitment, if they're interested in a player in France or in Italy or in Spain, they cannot access tracking data. But because even if there's an optical tracking system in these leagues won't share it with Liverpool or with any other team. It's really closed. While as we do it from the broadcast, we can do it on any league. And now, if they're interested in a player in Brazil, we'll get the videos from these matches, output the data, give them the data, and then they do whatever magic they want to do with this data.
Thanks, Laura. Thanks for that. That was great. Can you talk a little bit more about the broadcast utilization in the image or the use case that you showed? You've got two broadcasters who are explaining a play or a replay of a play that had happened, but so that's near live?
Yeah, that's not a replay, that's a play. They're really commentating like 90 minutes of the match in live. Because as we take only 2 seconds on top of the video to collect the data, we can generate this map in 2 seconds. So these guys are doing some radio, but in plus of the radio, you get the image of what's happening on the pitch. So it makes a complete experience for the users.
Thanks.
So first of all, I mean, it's obviously very exciting, but the part that I'm still left a little unclear on is I understand the tracking data, but on each of the use cases, I'm a little behind on exactly what that product is, how you're charging it, who you're selling to. Could you just run through on the three-legged stool those 3 questions quickly?
Yeah.
Thanks.
So on the fan experience part, so what we sell is really the visualization. So it's a web page. You integrate it quite easily on any website. So we integrate it you have like the headline of the match, you have our visualization, and then all the bets behind it. We sell it as a full package depending on the number of leagues that you're interested in, because sports betting is not about premium matches, it's about covering tens of thousands of matches every year. So we're selling, for Winamax, we're selling like 2,500 matches a season. About the pricing is like around 100K per bookmakers for full coverage. And yeah, for the clubs, they are paying on it's a bit the same things. It depends on the number of leagues they're interested in for recruitment. And on top of these leagues, if they're interested in a Korean player, they can also just share videos for these players, and we'll output the data for this. And they access the data through an API.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we have Immersive IO, which is an augmented reality sports tech startup.
So hello everyone, you can hear me correctly. So I'm Emmanuel, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Immersive, and today I'm going to talk to you about the future of watching sports. So I don't know about you, even if I guess like me, many of you in the room, I'm a huge sports fan. I love sports and I love watching sports. Need this. And when I go to the stadium to watch a game. It's great because I can really feel the atmosphere there because I'm with the public in the stands and I'm closer to the action, but I'm missing the amount of information I would have had if I had stayed at home to watch the game on TV. So I wonder, as fans, why should we have to choose between the atmosphere and the information? And actually, do we really have to choose? Well, at Immersive we don't think so, and that's why we decided to create Arise. It's an augmented reality solution on smartphones, which allow fans who are in the stadium to display directly on the pitch and in real time all the information they want, when they want it, and as much as they want it. So it means here we're going further than the classic TV experience because we're not going to have the same display for everyone. On the contrary, everybody is going to have its own personalized display. So this is completely personalized. So for instance, the fans, they can decide to display the lineups of the two teams, or they can even directly click on the player to select him and access his stats, like the speeds, for instance, but it could be also number of shots, number of passes, heat maps. And it works for football, but we've also deployed it for basketball, and actually, we can deploy it for any type of sports in any part of the world. So we have customers for football, for basketball. We are currently testing it also for ice hockey, and we are mainly operating in Europe, but also in North America, and especially in the US, where we intend to expand and strengthen our expansion this year. And I'd like now to focus on one specific collaboration, which is the collaboration we currently have with the Bundesliga, so the German Football League. That collaboration is done jointly with Vodafone, which is bringing 5G in some of the football stadiums in Germany. And together, we've showcased for world premiere last year with the club of Wolfsburg our solution Arise. And since then, we've been testing it with other clubs from the league that have shown interest in adopting it as well. So we believe there is a real opportunity for clubs and leagues to attract more people to stadiums today, and especially younger generations. And if we report to the latest report we have from Capgemini about emerging technologies and sports, almost 70% of fans state that the impact of new technologies such as AR have considerably enhanced their viewing experience. And 56% of them say that they will go more often to watch games in the stadium if they were provided with a good tech-enabled experience. And the impact is even more important with younger fans. So if we talk about innovation, let's talk about our solution. It's built on a patent-pending technology based on machine learning and computer vision, which basically allows us to detect the pitch from any points of view in the stands. And that's how we're able to deliver an interactive and specialized augmented reality experience. So basically, once we've detected the pitch, we're able to display the live data we collect or we retrieve from the data providers of our clients in this interactive overlay that is built on top of the camera of the smartphones of the fans. And that's also how we are different from the competition we have today on the market. That technology has been built by a team of sports fans, for sure, but also a team of sport experts. With my co-founder, Stéphane, we used to work together for years in the sports industry before we launched the company. At the time, we were working in a company developing mobile apps for key players of that industry, like the FIFA for the World Cup, like the UEFA for the Champions League for the Euro, but also for broadcasters like Fox Sports, beIN Sports, Canal+. And since the creation of the company, we've been joined by ex-colleagues of ours who are now bringing their expertise of building sports fan experiences for world-scale events to the rest of the team, which is mainly composed of AR and AI experts. If we now take a look at the augmented reality market, only 3 years ago, Apple and Google released the first augmented reality frameworks for smartphones, which are ARKit and ARCore. And since then, we've been working with the most innovative clubs and leagues in the world to bring that experience to the fans. And by 2023, it will be completely mass market, as 3.4 billion smartphones will be AR enabled. But that's only the first step, as the ultimate experience won't be on smartphone, but on smart glasses. We are official partners with Magic Leap and Microsoft for the HoloLens, so AR glasses. And by 2023, we will have new glasses on the market, Apple's and Facebook. So at that point in time, we will be watching sports through glasses in the stadium, but also at home. And so if we are now bringing the information back in the stadium, we're also working on bringing back the atmosphere in the living room of the fans, thanks to the immersions of the AR glasses. And we strongly believe this is the future of watching sports, and we are excited to make it happen. Thank you.
Great job. On that last point of bringing this experience into the living room, high level, which is the larger opportunity, kind of the in-stadium or the in-home, do you think?
Let's say today the market is in stadium because the install base is on smartphones. But tomorrow when the glasses will be here, obviously the audience at home will be higher. So that's the target we have. So that's why we're already working on that. But our market today is really the in-stadium experience.
Really beautiful. Well done.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the current installations that you've had in stadium. It sounds like Bundesliga is the largest test you've had to date. Who had access to use the technology, and what were the results of those that had been using it?
Yeah. So as you said, the Bundesliga is the biggest client we have today. So we've been testing it with different clubs. So Wolfsburg last year, Düsseldorf since, and it will be actually demoed the sports innovation at the end of this month in Düsseldorf. So it's an event from the Bundesliga. And so it will be deployed in live for next season for the first adopters of the clubs that are the first adopters of the leagues. So for the moment, it's been a test with reduced audience, and it will be full deployed starting next season.
Well done on the on how you charge it. So for in stadium, are you charging to the leagues or to the teams or to a combination of both, or do you not know yet? And then how does that change for the at home?
I'd say for the in-stadium, so our end client is the club, but it depends how the league works. Sometimes it could be the league. And so our solution, we sell it as a white label solution, and it's a mobile SDK. So basically, it will be easily integrated into the club's app or the league's app, and it's a setup fee and a license fee, which depends on the number of games. So that's for the, let's say, the in-stadium experience. And for the at-home experience, it's still to be determined, but maybe the impact of the larger audience will also have an impact on the pricing structure.
And how hard is it to take that to other sports?
Yeah, actually not that hard. The only thing is that our proprietary algorithm, which allows us to detect the pitch, we need to adapt it to other sports. But so, as I said, it works for basketball, football. We're doing it for ice hockey right now. It's quite easy to adapt it. But for sure, there's an additional effort each time we have a new sport.
And is there opportunity for the club or the team to incorporate sponsorship inside the experience?
Exactly. So we can take advantage of the mixed reality to basically have 3D heads in the experience. It could be on top of the pitch. And for sure, yeah, there is a place for sponsorship. It's often the most common way that our clients monetize the experience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Pico, which is a SaaS platform for better understanding the online fan. Just as a note, some of the members that we're going to present today are not able to attend due to a travel restriction. So I believe you're going to be playing a video during the main part of the...
Yeah. It should work out. Yeah, I can explain that. Hi, everybody. I'm Quentin Porter. I joined Pico last year to head up and start our U.S. operations. our team in Israel unfortunately couldn't make the trip. So they recorded a video. They had prepared a certain pitch for this. So let me see if I can get to the video. If you want to help me if it doesn't work, that would be great. And then I'll take questions after. Hi, Kirsten. What am I hitting here?
Hi everyone, wish I could have been in the room there with you, but the Israeli Minister of Health came with strict regulations, meaning that thanks to our Israeli sports channel partners, we're doing it this way. So hi, I'm Yaron Talpaz from Pico. We help teams, media channels, and brands connect and communicate with the thousands and millions of their fans on a personal level. The sports industry talks a lot about engagement, right? But actually, engagement is not a real problem in sports, especially not top sports teams, as fans are engaging by nature. The real problem is that teams don't know who they're engaging with. And here's why. Typical team would have two types of fans. Those who have interacted with them, buying tickets, merchandise, subscribing to their newsletter list. And then there are many more on the digital side, following them across all social and digital channels. The thing is that such engagement creates anonymous fans. A team doesn't know how to recommunicate, retarget with these people. A typical Tier 1 team, let's take Borussia Dortmund from the German League Soccer Bundesliga. They would have around 500,000 of fans in their internal database and more than 30 million across all of the social and digital channels. That means, by using simple math, a huge gap of 98% unidentifiable fans. Crazy number, right? Look at this post from the end of last season. Christian Pulisic, their star American player, had his last home game. They came out with an Instagram post thanking him, getting amazing numbers of engagement, 200,000 likes. But we're going to come back and say, so what? How did this help your business agenda? Did this actually help you sell Christian Pulisic jerseys? That's a thing, right? So that's where we come in. With Pico, we help and turn engaged, anonymous online fans into identifiable customer profiles to support teams' business objectives. Business objectives could be direct sales of tickets and merchandise, adding data like email or zip code or phone numbers, driving app installs, or working with third-party sponsors. A core value for us is not changing the fans' behavior. Wherever they're engaging with the teams they love, in the channels that the teams have invested on, we're going to be there. So you don't need to download Pico, you don't need to log into any external website. We use a three-step process for this. The first one, we're going to piggyback on the team's great engagement. They know how to bring the fans in, and we build fun gamification activations that are promoted from the team's in-game Jumbotron or digital channels. Once that happens, we immediately automatically capture data like username, first and last name, language, and gender, and then we add questions that make sense in the flow of the conversation, like your favorite player, preferred merchandise, the type of fan you are you a season ticket holder? All of this is done to support conversion, which is the whole thing. For example, the Denver Broncos had a Thanksgiving 25% off promotion. A generic post would look like what you're seeing on the left side. But if they actually know what you prefer, they can deliver the same offer of 25% off with the image of what you prefer, whether it's a cap or a jersey. At a high level, this looks like a sales funnel, where teams know how to engage, are aiming to convert, and we're going to help with the capture. Teams need to go through a paradigm shift. They're no longer offline entities. They need to think like e-commerce entities, being personalized and targeting, like Facebook, like Amazon and Google. The same content team, the same post and image that the content team for Borussia used last year, they could have done it a bit differently. Creating an Instagram story where you swipe up to play. And you're also asked as a fan to vote for Pulisic's best highlights in his career with Dortmund. Now it's not only about great engagement, you're adding people in your database. The ease of use is very important for Pico. You build it once and engage anywhere. Website, in-app, Twitter DM, or Facebook Messenger. We're fortunate to be working with teams from the NHL, NBA, Bundesliga, and leagues around the world. And the reason for this early success is clear. Great results. Almost everyone who was participating goes on to complete and share valuable data. 90%. Amazing number. Almost a third of those are going to click at the offer at the end of that conversation, if there is one. Sometimes it's to purchase tickets or merchandise. Sometimes it's just driving content. And if it is about purchasing, we're going to see almost 9% conversion rate, all much higher than industry averages. On average, we see an added $2 per fan per year, meaning there's clear and immediate ROI. This is not done in theory. Borussia Dortmund signed the biggest sensation of the soccer world, Erling Haaland, and saw amazing participation numbers with a single trivia Facebook post working with Pico, adding more than 12,000 people into their database. Simon Meyer, their head of digital, said, working with Pico now we're able to build personal relationships with thousands and millions of our fans. Working with the Nashville Predators for the last couple of months, they were able to deliver thousands of last-minute tickets to fans based on their preferences. And again, great participation numbers. JT from the Predators said, we're now able to leverage social media channels in ways we couldn't have before. The Los Angeles Clippers are using Pico for their sponsors and their in-game production. So there are many applications of using Pico. We've been working with the NHL St. Louis Blues, their champions, for the 3rd season now. Here's a quick video recapping our work with them.
How do you revolutionize the fan experience? Get personal, a million at a time.
Working with Pico, the integration has been seamless. They've made it so simple and so easy for me to get content from users in the seats out to the video board, and I'm just so excited to really show off what Pico can do.
The Pico platform powers the one-on-one relationships between sports teams and their fans by effortlessly engaging and communicating before, during, and after events through existing social media channels without downloading an app.
It invites everybody to play. So everybody has a skin in the game, everybody has the chance to play along, everybody has a chance to win.
Heighten the fan experience, increase sponsorship interaction, and drive revenue for you and your sponsors.
In the past, we've had a lot of one-on-one participation. Now we're able to take that experience to 19,000 people that are in the building and allow them to not only participate, but then also to deliver sponsor-related activities and offers back to them at the end of that participation.
Turn your fans into fanatics. It's easy when you have the right tools.
They're basically a three-headed monster. They have a social media communication channel that could translate into an in-game presentation that also has sponsorship and revenue generation opportunities tagged along with it. It also has multiple applications that even go beyond just the realm of sports.
Pico, get personal, a million at a time.
I will close with this from a top executive from Barcelona FC. In a recent conference, he practically pitched Pico, saying, 100 million of our digital fans are almost useless because we don't own the data. We need to go to the social networks to reach out to these people. So our next challenge is actually not on the field. It's in the databases. And that's where Pico can help you. Thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for rolling with that. Any questions from you guys? Oh.
Great. Thanks for playing the video. That was good. That was great. Sorry, they couldn't make it. Can you, and you may not be able to get into the details, but with the strategic partnerships with the Facebooks of the world, like how does that kind of the risks and opportunities you see with those types of relationships with those partners?
Yeah, they're just a great opportunity for fans to be engaging, and to be a part of that is kind of our unique position, is that we're native with these channels. Obviously, we'll always be capturing the type of data that they're letting us capture, but really Pico is not necessarily about that, to be clear. So the data capture is really a question and answer sort of communication with the team. So the fan is sharing that information willingly. It's much more about that more contextual declared data than it is us scraping or scrubbing anything, so we're really careful about that.
Well done. It's a great remote presentation. My question is along similar lines. With Facebook and Instagram really changing the rules of play pretty consistently and constantly, how will does that take the opportunity sort of off the table if you can no longer do things like ask a call to action or ask a fan to answer a question within their universe there?
Sure. The thing is that we're really supporting their value proposition as a platform. They're all about knowing who these fans are and engaging them, giving them the right content, the right time. So we're really actually an extension of those platforms' approach. We're sort of an extra extension, a little bit more fun for the fan, and directly tying into the first-party data of the team. So that's where we come in. We don't see it necessarily as a problem to worry about necessarily, because at the end of the day, we're also helping them. We're getting a lot more engagement on those channels. Having more fans within things like Messenger and DM is something that they want too. So they're, as far as we know, on board very much with what we do. Yeah.
So in the Q&A with a fan, if a fan answers that question, if it's being asked by a team and it's through Facebook and you're the channel that is capturing that, is it clear who owns that answer to that question?
Is it clear to the fan or to the team or?
Facebook, the team, and you, and the fan. Is it clear who owns the answer to that question?
Yes, so most of our clients, especially over in Europe, and we encourage the ones here in the States, have their own terminology. There is a sort of an opt-in process for Facebook and Twitter where they put terms there, but our teams will put whatever sort of terms and things like we protect your privacy, this is to give you a better experience, you can opt out anytime. There's a.
Well, I get the opt-in. So I get the opt-in, and I get the customer protection angle. But I'm just saying, if it's done that way, and if the team's asking the question via Facebook, and the fan answers that question, I can see both the team and Facebook having claim to that data. And so I think that could potentially be a risk. And that's why I'm asking: is it clear in the agreements who owns that data?
It is. It's the team. We store it for the team. Facebook obviously collects a lot of data from all the interactions that are happening, but really in this case what's different about us is now the team does own that data because the fan is sharing it in that one-to-one way. But yeah, that is, for us, I don't think much of a risk because it's definitely declared information that the fan's sharing. Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Fancher, which provides predictive insights and financial protection services for when players miss a game.
Different. For sure. Fans also obviously frustrated when you pay higher ticket prices for certain games, is the way those ticket packages work, and then maybe not going to get to see the stars that you paid for. I was looking at Tom Haberstroh's story, our old colleague who now works for NBC Sports. He says there's a Silicon Valley company that will actually insure your ticket. So if the star rests for DMP or has load management, you get your money back. So you can look that up on the internet.
Other people see
a solution. This is a former NASA engineer who came up with the algorithm for this. I think that's pretty cool. So there's solutions everywhere.
Thank you, Rachel, for that very kind introduction. My name is Vijay Shrao. Of course, we're Team Fancher.
I'm Scott Kaplan, PhD candidate in economics at UC Berkeley and senior economist for Fancher.
So the subject discussed in that segment was about load management, which, if many of you might already know this, but it's the recent trend in which star players, whether they're healthy or not, tend to sit out of games more and more often in an effort to increase their longevity throughout the season. The problem is there's such a huge demand to players that when they don't play, it upsets all kinds of consumers and enterprises. Me personally, I'm a big basketball fan. I've gone to many games and watched many games on TV, obviously, where I was disappointed when a certain star player wasn't playing. So whether it's Roger Federer, LeBron James, Cristiano Ronaldo, there's a ubiquitous issue of star players missing games and its economic impact on multiple stakeholders. So we saw this as an opportunity for both protecting the financial well-being of these entities, as well as an opportunity to provide further insight as the trend of players sitting out of games grows more and more uncertain by the day.
Yeah, just to talk a little bit more about the motivation for the company. So as you can see in this graph here, there's a growing trend of players missing games due to injury or rest, and it's skyrocketed over the last several seasons. I also want to point out that even though it's an increasing trend, the actual level of percent of missed games has been high for a long time. So the narrative has started to pick up in the last couple of seasons about players missing games, be it for injury or for load management. But this is something that fans have always been dealing with, actually, especially in the NBA. And as a part of research I've actually done as for my graduate work, I find that ticket prices and TV ratings drop 10 to 25% when the top stars sit out, and I presented that last year at the Sloan conference. What we're trying to do is solve that problem for a bunch of different stakeholders. So the solution we've come up with, as Rachel mentioned, is a couple of NASA rocket scientists who have developed a machine learning technology to predict the likelihood that a player is going to miss any given game. And what we do with that technology is twofold. One is protecting different stakeholders from the financial risk that's at stake when players don't play, as well as provide insights to both businesses and consumers about the impacts of player availability and the implications of that. So our value proposition is twofold. We have a protection arm and an insights arm. So the protection arm treats fan experience, so going to the game, buying tickets, ticket retailers and brokers who also face potential losses when star players don't play because fans don't buy as many tickets, as well as, of course, TV networks and advertisers whose ratings suffer when these players don't play. On the insights branch, we think there's huge upside with gambling and fantasy sports, so allowing gamblers and operators of gambling businesses to take advantage of better insights about when players may or may not play. We also are hoping to work with leagues about schedule optimization, when should national TV games be played, by which teams, and when during the season, as well as just information for media personnel who like to discuss these things for their followers. So our market opportunity, we see our total addressable market to be $4.6 billion under 3 different segments. The NBA protection side, which again is for fans protecting their tickets, or TV networks protecting potential ratings losses from stars not playing. Insights licensing, so that's a data subscription model where people can subscribe and get data about when players may or may not play. And then moving into other sports and entertainment events where this is also relevant with stars. Our current platform is live at Fancher.com. We offer ticket protection, so you go buy a ticket at your favorite marketplace, you come to us, and you tell us which game you'd like to protect, which player you'd like to protect, and what reimbursement option you'd like to select. So we have 100%, 50%, and 25% options, and we quote you a premium in real time based on the risk of that player not playing and the demand to see them play. We also just recently rolled out our Insights platform, which has started with offering missed game probabilities for the top players. You can select any game in the future and in real time see the likelihood that a player is not going to play.
Our go-to-market strategy is twofold. It's to really build off the 2 different segments that Scott just mentioned. So on the ticket protection side, our goal is to get the distribution in terms of working with a ticket retailer. We realize there's a lot of touch points when it comes to actually getting a point of sale integration, so we think a logical in-between step is to run soft pilot campaigns and ad campaigns on our own to test the product first. On the insight side, we plan to distribute by licensing our insights to any stakeholders that are interested in getting more data in terms of when players are expected to play games. And on both the protection and insight side, our goal is to ultimately go beyond basketball into other sports and entertainment events, including concert events and Broadway musicals that feature key performers that have an uncertainty of giving it a go that particular night. So because we have multiple use cases, our business model is pretty flexible, so we have an advantage there in terms of getting that product market fit in a variety of ways. On the ticket protection side, we can follow the logical insurance model in which a customer pays a premium to us and then we pay out when they suffer an event when a star player misses a game. We can also subscribe our data to users who are interested, particularly fantasy gambling entities. And we're also looking at data licensing to teams as well as the league who's interested in optimizing their schedule based on minimizing superstar players, especially for nationally televised games. So our team is full of highly educated and experienced professionals led by a leadership team from NASA and Lockheed Martin. We're also graced by a couple of familiar faces you might recognize, Amin El-Hassan of ESPN, as well as Marcellus Wiley of Fox Sports and former NFL player. We think we have the brain power and the combination of influencers to really get this going. So we've had the fortune of being mentioned on a number of media outlets, despite us being at a relatively early stage. We're also looking at ticket retail partnerships, and one specific major ticket retailer we're in final negotiations with regard to a soft pilot for the player protection service. We're also looking to collaborate with them on future digital content, especially when it comes to players missing games and the subsequent impact on ticket prices. We're also partnered with a technology company called KiwiTech, which does development work for select startups and provide access to fundraising. And speaking of fundraising, we are in the middle of raising our pre-seed round, a target of $300,000. We're already 42% raised. We're planning on using the funds for executing our distribution strategy as well as sales and marketing. I want to thank the Sloan Committee for inviting us to pitch today, and I'll open the floor to some questions. I'll stand over here.
Great job, thank you. On the sales and marketing side, do you imagine leveraging these ticket retailer partnerships in using their kind of awareness and marketing efforts, or is this something you guys would do in addition?
Yeah, specifically with regard to the one that we're talking to, the best idea we could come up with was an email campaign post-purchase. Obviously, we want to someday end up pre-purchase and in the flow of the checkout, but the idea was for anybody who buys a ticket in a certain time period, that customer would get a standalone dedicated email about Fancher. And that way, it's not ideal in terms of being within the flow of the checkout, but it at least gets people at the right time. Because what's difficult is in the sales and marketing front, if you, there's a friction to all of this, right? If you don't have a ticket, like you might think Fancher is cool, but it's not, it doesn't apply to you. So we're trying to find the most effective ways of reaching our target market in that sense.
Yeah, and that was kind of along those lines, like what is the ideal or imagined user experience? Like, is it an app that I would download, or would I just go where I currently buy tickets and kind of have this interaction?
So right now, we are able to integrate our API onto like a ticket platform in the sense of a customer buys their ticket, has the usual standard and add-on options, which right now, Allianz offers standard ticket insurance, but that insurance is more for if you're sick and you can't go to a game, or if your travel plans get messed up and you can't go. So we can either live alongside that or talk to Allianz about potentially like adding to their product offering in that sense. That's our ideal kind of scenario. Yeah.
Just to add on, I know I don't like, but just to add on to that,
you go to the podium.
One thing that's different about our protection compared to Allianz is the fan still gets to go to the game, which is something that I think is misunderstood sometimes. So if the fan gets to go to the game worry-free, the player doesn't play, you get your ticket reimbursed, the player does play, great, you're having a great experience. So we really like want to smooth over that psychological hurdle of feeling like let down.
Yeah.
You have a bit of a major dependency, it seems, on integration with a ticketing retail partner. Are you able to operate independently of them, or is your solution dependent on that integration?
I think for distribution purposes, like we would have to put, we allow a straight B2C product. So for anybody that actually has a ticket in hand, they can come to our site, but then you face that kind of hurdle of like they have to hear about it independently at the right time and then come to make a special trip to our page. So in that sense, we can function and we can execute a marketing strategy in which people go to the site when that happens. But ideally, I agree with you, there is a bit of a dependency in terms of the ticket side of things. But I think we're talking to some insurance brokers about potentially using them as our underwriters, and they could potentially have distribution with other ticket retailers. So, and for that reason, that's why we're doing two different arms. And I think the core technology is really what we realized has drawn a lot of interest in terms of like how likely it is a player is going to miss a given game. So that's why our go-to-market strategy is kind of that twofold approach. Yeah.
And if you are able to operate independently, have you thought about how you'd validate if that consumer actually did, in fact, have the ticket, if they had resold it, if they had transferred it, all of those complications?
Yeah, so it's tricky because we don't hold on to the actual inventory, but what we do ask is when a person makes a claim, when a particular customer goes to a game and is eligible to get a claim from us, we request a couple of pieces of information, including some kind of proof of purchase that they actually bought the ticket in the first place and the amount that they put. We ask for three things. One, what player they want to go see, what game they're going to, and then how much your ticket was. So we confirm all that in that proof of purchase that they provide, whether it's like an email copy of their ticket or like a barcode of where they were sitting that has the relevant information. So that's currently what we're doing, but obviously those kind of pain points would go away a lot easier with a partnership with a ticket retailer.
Awesome.
And the underlying technology is your proprietary technology. I saw the partnership with Kiwi. They're just helping you from a partnership standpoint. It's not their technology that you're selling.
Correct. So our technology, the algorithm was developed in-house. That belongs to us. Kiwi Tech was responsible for the back end and our beta and our e-commerce development. In terms of the IP aspect of this, it does get a little dicey when it comes to any software-based like algorithms in terms of how patentable is it, but we think that the most effective strategy, and I've consulted a bunch of IP attorneys about this, is to keep a strong trade secret and keep a strong trademark, and we think that that's going to be better for the long run.
Great. Thank you.
And our last startup for this track of the competition is EV Analytics, which provides cutting-edge sports betting data.
Can you hear me? Good morning. My name is Derek Fishbach, and I'm the co-founder of EV Analytics. I quit my six-figure day job to become a professional sports bettor, and after much success, I started EV Analytics to offer the highest quality sports data analytics to help fans and companies. When it comes to sports betting, there are two fundamental problems that both bettors and companies face. One, a lack of valuable sports betting data, and two, limited sports betting expertise. On the B2C side, fans and bettors are currently limited to narrative-based articles and tout selling picks. Great for entertainment, but not very useful or predictive. On the B2B side, there are very few vendors that offer odds, projections, and stats from one convenient source, far fewer with domain expertise that can develop and originate the data, and even fewer who are familiar with the U.S. betting markets, betting habits, and culture. But EV Analytics checks all the boxes, and we can meet the needs of a wide range of audiences from B2C to B2B. For B2C, this includes advanced data-driven betting models that predict the probability of a sports betting outcome and its EV, or expected value. And with advanced functionality, users can quickly identify inefficiencies in the odds. Our odds comparison tool is unlike anything else on the market. Not only can fans shop for the best game odds, but compare team props and player prop odds across various sportsbooks to find the best price. And we're offering innovative research tools such as Build a Bet that allows users to design and calculate custom bets, and our betting stats that allows users to quickly identify betting trends and profitability through heat maps. For enterprises, we're in the business of custom solutions. This includes data APIs, odds making, risk management, and software development. Do you know who made the most money during the California gold rush? The people that were selling the picks and shovels. This analogy can apply to the U.S. sports betting industry, and the people providing the picks and shovels are the data providers. The U.S. sports betting industry continues to grow exponentially. Since PASPA was struck down less than 2 years ago, 21 states have legalized sports betting, and another 21 states have drafted legislation. 80% of Americans support legalized sports betting. Sports bettors are younger, more educated, and wealthier than the general population. They visit an average of 4 sports betting information sites, and nearly 20% of sports bettors pay for sports betting data and information. There is a massive market opportunity to provide sports betting data because fans want to be more informed than ever and are willing to pay for it. This creates a demand on companies to give fans what they want. This includes a greater variety of betting options, sports data predictions, and sports betting tools. Do you want to know a secret? Many sportsbooks copy odds from their competitors. Why? Because originating odds is difficult. Even more difficult is having to originate many odds for each game. Which team will score first, the third quarter spread? How many passing yards will Tom Brady throw? These are the sub-market odds, and they are the most inefficient. And it's because the data providers odds makers don't have the resources to refine all these sub-market odds. And that's where EV Analytics comes in. That's our niche. We specialize in the US sub-market odds, such as derivative odds and props. This is our competitive advantage. So while other data providers and odds makers have the resources stretched thin, trying to originate odds for every market, for every game, for every sport, we're focusing on mastering our niche, the US sub-market odds. And we do so because the sub-markets are the future of sports betting in America, especially when many daily fantasy players convert to sports betting and want to wager on player props or other dynamic aspects of the game. Furthermore, EV Analytics is a bootstrap company built from the ground up. So while other companies are venture funded and spending capital to see what sticks, our clients are coming to us with needs, and we're developing viable products to grow, to scale, and valuing their growth opportunity while being first to market. In less than 2 years, we've partnered up with various B2B companies to provide sports data analytics to their users. These companies are media companies, content providers, free-to-play apps, and operators who are already experiencing greater fan engagement because of our data. And this rapid growth will continue, especially when the taboo of sports betting gets lifted and more fans and companies embrace the opportunity. So how do we do it? A team of beautiful minds. Our diverse team ranges from data scientist to data engineer, sabermetrician and mathematician, quantitative expert to marketing expert. Not only are these guys innately gifted in their specialty, but we've been collecting the data, optimizing the technology, designing the predictive models, and analyzing the nature of sports betting for years. So what's our gimmick? No gimmick, no razzle-dazzle. This is the fan experience track, and there is no better fan experience than having action on the game. So we're giving fans and companies what they want in the form of new and innovative sports data and analytics. Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to answering any questions you may have.
Thank you. Question on, and I am not a bettor, so this will show in my question. Just looking at the kind of screen grab of what the actual consumer experience is, looks pretty complex. Is that standard kind of within the space, or is this, I guess, in terms of the education and awareness level of these users, are they prepared for the kind of the analytics that you're
That's
putting
a
out
great
there?
question. Yes, we're trying to cater to both novice and experts. We're developing tutorials and classes to help educate sports bettors so they can make more informed decisions based off our data and our tools. So we are continually doing that to educate the users.
Okay. Two questions. One, are there other companies that are providing that sort of information on a direct-to-fan basis, either the bet houses or any others in the space? And the second one is, you noted a number of, it wasn't clear if those were clients or if those were partners, the logos on the screen?
Clients.
Okay.
Yep. So as far as other competitors, very few competitors, especially in the sub-market space. There's, our competitors would be, let's say, Sports Radar, right? And, their resources stretch thin because they're trying to originate odds for crickets and soccer and all these other, stats, projections. And we're just focusing on mastering our niche. And we know that we can better compete. We can compete with the bigger companies because we are focusing on these sub-markets, and we think they are the future of sports betting.
So how much of that data that you showed is your proprietary data versus are you summarizing other, like a comparative, like an Orbis or something like that, where you're taking comparative data, comparative shopping, right? And I feel like it's a blend. Some of that is your proprietary, and some of it you're aggregating other data that's available to a single view dashboard?
Correct. So it's both. It's a combination of both. So as far as, let's say, the odds comparison, we partner up with affiliates, sports books, let's say a DraftKings or a PointsBet. We get their data feed with their odds, and we can compare their odds across all the various sports books. You can price around, you can shop around for the best prices. And then the proprietary betting models, that's our proprietary data in which we are developing our models. There is subjectivity to it as far as, if there's a player that gets injured, how does that affect the other players? So we have some domain expertise in these models and these submarkets. Our background is in daily fantasy, so we've been doing this for.
Do you have to pay royalties to those third-party data providers, data that you're showing?
No. They're trying to, the advantage for them is they are presenting their odds on our website, and they're trying to acquire customers.
It's distribution.
It's conversion.
Any other questions? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Yeah. Awesome. That is it for the performance track. A huge shout out to all the startups that joined us today, to our judges for being here and asking great questions. That was really strong. Really, thank you all for joining. A couple of details. The next part of the startup competition for the performance track will start here at 1:15, same room. Different theme, it's going to be about athlete performance. These startups that you all saw here present today can be found in front of room 210, just down the hall out here to the left. Please stop by if you want to say great presentation, thank them, or have a couple $100,000 laying around. And that's all for right now. Startups, judges, if you're able to stick around for a little bit for judging, but also for group photos. We would love to get some of those going. Oh, and the winners of the track will be announced at the award ceremony tonight at 5:30 p.m. in the Bill James room.